Good morning, everyone. And I wanted to come in this morning and talk about where we are after last night. Now, I could have done this as a pre recorded video, but I didn't feel like editing and all of that stuff. So I just figured go live and take it from there. Last night, as I told y'all, when I saw the way things were going, I just basically turned off my television, went into my bedroom, and prayed. Good morning, Lita. And prayed, you know, that things turn out the way that we wanted it to. And then this morning, when I woke up, I saw that, Biden is over 200, but so is Trump. Then, as I always do, I started reading all of the comments and all of that. And I just found it very curious that this morning that a lot of white America is asking the question, is this who we really are? And my answer to them is this is not who we are. This is who you are. What I came up with as I read their comments is this. When you go into the voting booth, you vote your conscience, your heart, your character. You are standing there alone. And it is a moment that you look inwards and you think about the people that are running. And even though you say you vote your own best interest, you're actually voting the interest of the country. So when those white people were standing in those booths, in those booths, they voted what was in their hearts. What I came away with, what they did is Donald Trump speaks out loud what they truly feel in their hearts. Now, don't get me wrong. There were a lot of white people who stood up, who spoke out, and they fought back. Because when they stood in that booth, they said to themselves, you know what? Either way it go, I'm white. It'll be okay for me, whoever is in office. But I cannot, look at the Black Lives Movement and not feel that they are being attacked, that they are going through things that I'm not going through. They stood there, they looked at this virus and they said, it may not have affected my family, but there are hundreds of thousands of people that have died and millions of people who are infected. They said that when Trump was going to those rallies and he was, you know, attacking disabled people and reporters, no, it didn't affect me, but what he did or what he does is not right. So when they were pushing those buttons for who they chose for the better of the country. So this morning, when they are asking this question, is this who we really are? I was pissed because, yes, this is who you are. And this morning between 6 and 7, Facebook is lit up. People are up. They couldn't sleep. They could not sleep. And the question is is being asked in every place. Foreigners are asking us, is this who America really is? People in the country are asking. When you think about it this way, white people make up 65% of the electorate. Blacks, 12%. I think they say Latinos or Spanish speaking community, 13%. They even had Asian, blah, blah, blah. Together, we don't make up what they make up as far as the electorate is concerned. So when they ask that question today, think about this. We voted for Biden. A lot of us did. We voted on the right side. of goodness and evil. And history will record that. Because when you think about Trump and you think about what he's done to this country, last night I touched on quite a few things that he has led this country in, through, and destroy in the last 4 years. So if you are a person that can witness all that and understand everything that he's done, and you still went into that voting booth and voted for him, this is who we are. Never forget, y'all, this country was built on stealing. They stole land from the Indians. This country was built on slavery. They enslaved an entire group of people for hundreds of years. This country was built on greed. They they beat and sold off babies on plantations to get a free workforce. Never forget what this country is built on. The very soil that we stand on is just soaked with the blood of Indians and our ancestors as Black people. Don't forget that bullshit. Don't forget it. So white people are trying to act stupid today. Basically, y'all, they lied. When they were being interviewed and when they were saying who they were voting for, they were lying like they do. And y'all, I'm not one of those type of people that believe in conspiracy theories and the deep state and all of that stuff. But proof of what they did is showing in where we are, how close this election is. They're asking this question, and I'm going to keep going back to this. Is this who we are? No, motherfuckers. This is who you are. The fight, the point that Biden is in a battle speaks to what they did when they went in those booths. Now this morning, they like, I didn't vote for him. Did you vote for him? Fuck that. They did vote for him. Because like I said, if you add our 12% of the electorate, the Latinos, that's another 13, that's 25%. If you add the Asian community, we are not the majority. They are. This is what they want, y'all. They say it, they're speaking out both sides of their mouths. This is what they want. I have just sat and read the sadness in some of the posts. There was a brother on Facebook this morning, and he said to white America, as a Black man, basically, I see you, and I'm very disappointed in you, and that this is a referendum on what you believe in as white people. And he just said that he's going to continue to be careful, that he's not going to put himself in situations where there's any police around, which I don't know how the brother's going to do it, because shit, you could be in your house sitting while Black and they shoot the shit out of you and get off with it. But that if Trump wins, y'all, this is on white America. This is not on us. This is what they want. Like I said, he's speaking out loud what we now know that what they're feeling. Basically, they took off their hoods and went into the voting booth. And just marinate on this. They were standing there. They had choices. When you're standing in front of that machine, every screen is a choice. There's a choice to what judges you want. There's a choice to what issues you want. When I was standing there, I was thinking, I am one person, and I'm making my choice, but collectively there's somebody else standing in the booth beside me or across the country, and they're making the same choices that I am. And I hope that, we together we can make a change. But what I now know in the light of day, when white America was standing in there, huh, they were making this choice. And isn't it just a slap in the face? This truly speaks to that thing where they say they shit in your face and then they smear it. This morning, y'all, they are up saying, is this who we really are? I thought my country was better than this. I just keep going back to that. And everywhere that I could post on Facebook, I kept saying, this is not who we are. This is who you are. This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. So what I posted on Facebook is this. No matter what, y'all, as Black people, we gonna get through this. You know why? And I touched on this last night. We are strong, whether we believe it or not. We will survive this. We survived the Middle Passage. We survived hundreds of years on a plantation. We survived Jim Crow. We survived the civil rights era. Because you know what we said to ourselves? Better be dead than alive as a fucking slave. We gonna get through this. Y'all know we'll get some beans and some fucking cornbread and we will make it. We will. I told people on my Facebook page, hold your head up high. This is not on you. You did right. Like somebody just put in here, we're fighting righteousness and good. Now those might be old-fashioned values to some, but something my mother used to tell us when she was raising us. And a lot of stuff that I was taught as a kid, when I was raising my kids, and I was teaching them, I started to understand why my mother said certain things. She told us to always dig down deep and find that good part of you when you are faced with difficult decisions. She said, because that good part of you is tied directly to your humanity and what you think of the world, your outlook, and when you go out in the world, how you carry yourself. She said it's all related to that good part inside of you. So when I go out in the world, and when you're raised like that, you can have empathy for people who are Black, white, because it comes from a good place. You don't see color when you are a good person because you believe, like Jesus taught us, that everybody is worthy, But when you look at America, and when the rest of the world is looking at us this morning, we just sent a signal to the rest of the world that this is exactly who we are. I don't know if y'all watched the video that I did about when I was a travel agent and being able to travel to other countries. And I talked about going to Europe. And specifically, I went to Italy. And I talked about how everywhere that I went when I was there, people not only were nice to me, they went out of their way to be nice to me. It was so just out there that I met these people, this white couple, this Italian couple, on a train. I was coming back from Switzerland, going back to Milan, and their train is called the Eurail. I was on the Eurail, and they just started talking to me. So because they were so nice, I said, you know what? This is my chance because this is an older couple, remind me kind of like of my grandparents. I'm just going to ask them, why is every place I go, these people going out of their way to be nice to me? I mean, like, y'all, it was so much that it was scaring me because we don't get treated like that in America. So when I asked this Italian couple, they looked at each other and they said something in Italian. I don't speak Italian, y'all. I grew up in the hood. I just grew up in a family that, taught me stuff. So then after they got finished speaking in Italian, they turned to me and they said, we watch the news. We get your news. And we see the way that Black people are treated in America. And they said they can't speak for all of the other Italians that I had come in contact with, but they guessed that because of what they see and know that Black people have went through, they wanted me to feel welcome in their country. Y'all, I was sitting there, and as they were saying it, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. These people, they have watched our history here in America, and they know that we've been wronged, and they know that we fought for our freedom. They know that we were slaves. They know all of this stuff. And they don't know each other. Because when I was traveling through Europe, it was literally traveling. I was in Milan, Venice, Switzerland. I was on the train. So I was in different countries with different people that didn't know each other. And what I took away from that is this. It's Americans that, and I'm not saying that, that there are other countries that Black people may be hated or treated wrong in, but it's predominantly here in America, because what those Italians sent me away with is this. They recognize what we went through and they empathize with us. And not only did they empathize, they wanted me to know that, hey, here we just see a woman, an American woman. We don't see all of that. And because we don't see all of that, we're going to treat you with dignity and respect. Y'all, they got off the train before I did. And funny thing is, I was traveling with 6 other travel agents that were white, and they heard all of that. And when that older couple got off the train, because what they said touched me so much, I couldn't talk. Like the white people that I was with, I know it was embarrassing for them because they heard everything. And I know it made them feel awkward because it was their fucking ancestors that did to our people what they did. They want us to forget that shit, but they don't forget nothing. And what happened today, even if Joe Biden wins, think about this, y'all. What the numbers show is that it is a very large population of people that believe just like Trump. Like I said, he's speaking out of his mouth aloud what they feel in their hearts. Proof of it is when they went in the booth and they voted. Because when you're standing there voting, you're alone. Just like you're going to be on Judgment Day. You're alone. And I said this last night, I didn't vote for Biden because he was a Democrat. And let me just tell you why I keep saying that. I have voted for a Republican before. When I was younger and I still lived in my home city of Cleveland, there was a Republican mayor by the name of Voinovich. And I voted for him because when I sat there and listened to who he was, and right before he won the mayoral election, one of his children was killed. I think the child got hit by a car or something, but I think the child was killed or died. And I remember thinking, this man is a good man. He just happens to be of a party that I am not part of. When I looked at the two choices, I felt that I would get more out of Voinovich because he did have a sense of decency, a sense of right and wrong. And I think he went on to serve 2 terms, and I was right. When he was mayor of Cleveland, he did his job. So I felt good, voting for him. So the reason why I bring that up is to say this. If I was voting, and I'm a Democrat, I'm a staunch Democrat, but if I saw, in a certain area where there was a Republican and a Democrat, and I truly felt that the Republican was the better choice, I wouldn't let party dictate to me who I'm going to vote for, because I vote by who feels decent to me, who feels like they have a sense of humanity. And nothing that Trump has demonstrated over these last 4 years has demonstrated that to me. Like, all this name calling, and when he stood there behind that podium and mocked a handicapped person, when he said stuff about the military and, Gold Star families, and he was just flippant about the death of their loved ones, and he's a draft dodging, bone stirs, lying son of a bitch. When I got family members who served in Vietnam War, that they're his age, and they were drafted, no choice, they didn't choose to go, and now they're so twisted in their brain because of what they went through during the Vietnam War. But he lied and said he had fucking bone spurs and didn't go. Who could vote for a man? They say he's a businessman. The bitch filed bankruptcy, 6 times? Is that a successful businessman to y'all? Steve Jobs never filed bankruptcy. Michael Dell, the owner of Dell Computers, no bankruptcy. For that matter, the young guy that's running Facebook, what's the boy's name? Mark Zuckerberg, not bankruptcy. Think of all these big billionaires, true billionaires. They're not filing bankruptcy. What is Soros, the guy that runs Amazon? The fuck? I am a private citizen who have had ups and downs, times when my money been good and times when my money been funny. And I ain't filed bankruptcy not once. Not once. Let alone 5 or 6 times. And to y'all, to these people, that's a successful businessman? The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. Then we have a fucking global virus, a pan-fucking-demic that, if you ask me, is spoken of in the Bible. And I already done told y'all that I'm not a religious person. Okay, Linda, that's on you. Good for you. Good for you. But it's more than just you out here. Okay? There's more than just you out here. And that's what I'm speaking of. When you're standing, it goes back to what my mother said about digging down and finding the good in you, because the good in you is directly related to the humanity in you. Human. It wasn't about Lydia and her husband. When I vote, I don't just vote the conscience of myself, because when I voted for that Republican, I switched parties to vote for him because I thought that Voinovich would be better for Cleveland. Where we were when he was running, he was the best choice. I did what my mother taught me to do. I reached down, found the goodness in me, which is linked to my humanity and my view of the world. And I made a choice for the betterment of my community, the betterment of Cleveland, Ohio. That's what I did. And these people who are so selfish, so me, there's going to be a judgment day. We had a man that walked this earth, and he was for all of us. He gave his life for us. He was not me. When he was on the cross, he said, "Forgive them, Father, because they know not what they do." It's not all about one. Jesus, the ultimate brother, had sympathy and empathy for the world, so much so that he gave his life. He gave his life. He wasn't sitting up talking about how good he did. He wanted better for everyone. Because when we all do good, we live in a better world. We live in a better world. And when you are led by someone who is, or allow yourself to be led and fooled and tricked and put blinders over your eyes because you're benefiting from it. Fuck those kids that are torn from their parents. You can turn a blind eye to that because you doing all right. There are babies right now who stumbled into America with their parents. They took them from their parents. There is a woman somewhere down at the border who is missing every part of her insides that makes her female because America want to experiment and rip out their female organs. What gives us the right to do that? What is wrong with you people? I'm so fucking sick of this evil, this meanness, this me generation. You know what? If when we were going through the civil rights era, if Martin Luther King thought like that, if Malcolm X thought like that, if Medgar Evers thought like that, and every other person who fought for us to be where we are today, we wouldn't be sitting here. We wouldn't be sitting here. When you were watching our people being hosed down, there were hundreds of us walking together across the Edmund Pettus Bridge because we believed that together that we could fight back. So I just don't get that me thing. Well, me got us Trump. And he is a me person. He's stealing from the American people. They said that his campaign had over $1 billion to fucking work with that was disappeared in 9 months. Where's that money? He has been golfing and traveling on his exclusive jet, fucking spending up taxpayers' money. Oh my God. Oh my God. But they wake up this morning and they say, is this who we are? The answer to that is yes, this is who we are. And one thing that I will say about Black people that I don't know if it's because of what we've been through, we can spot bullshit from a mile. You know, we can spot it for a mile. When he came down that escalator, and even before that, when Steve Harvey took his simple ass to Trump Tower, we started saying back then, something about this man ain't right. Y'all know as Black people, we were saying it. We can feel it. And it's because we've danced with the devil during the whole time that we've been here in America. So we know what evil looks like, smells like, tastes like, feels like. We know it. Let me block this bitch because she gonna make me cuss her out, and I'm not for that this morning. How you do this? Let me block, hide user, put in a timeout, whatever, because I'm not. This is probably a fucking Russian troll. Um, and this morning, like I said, I'm thinking about this country as a whole and what the next 4 years could mean for us if he wins. Now, y'all, I do understand that they said that, Biden still has, a couple different ways to get to the 270. But what worries me more is the fight that clearly he's going through to get to it. What that is saying is that there is a large population of Americans that think like Trump and they believe that he is the best answer for us. That's the part that's troubling because it's saying that they've been lying. Even to this morning, my uncle said, even to the police department, he was talking about how we as Black people believe that the Klan or some of those far left white people that hate, their races, that they've infiltrated the police. Because I saw a story where a police officer had a pregnant Black woman down on the ground on her stomach, and forget she was a woman. That didn't, speak to his, that good part inside him. Forget that she was pregnant. Forget that the baby inside of her, when she was on her stomach being held down, could be in distress. He didn't care. All he saw was her Black skin. You're not going to tell me that had that been a white woman, that he would have held her down when she was so heavily pregnant. This is crazy. Another thing that I want to talk about, y'all, the Spanish speaking community, Latinos, or whatever they're calling themselves, because I don't know how to differentiate, and I really don't feel like it this morning. They said that Trump went to Florida and he focused on them and they fell for his bullshit, even though they know that those babies, that they took those babies from their parents, they locked those families up, they separated them, they sent them back to countries that they didn't even come for. They're sterilizing those women. Why are they doing that? Do y'all realize that sterilization thing is something that Hitler did, like early on, to the Jewish women? Trump is taking a page out of Hitler's playbook. Hitler, y'all. The Holocaust that some white people deny ever happened. Y'all, I had a teacher in the 8th grade whose parents were Holocaust survivors. And you know how you do a report in class and, you talk about history and everything. Well, the teacher did a report too. I'll never forget his name. His name was Mr. Charney. And he brought pictures and told us the story of his family. And he was going to bring his parents in to show us the numbers that were on their arm. But you know what his parents said? That it would scare us. So what they did is they just took pictures of their arm. But both of his parents survived the Holocaust and they met here in America once they made it here and they made him. Did I doubt this man's story? No, because he had proof. He had proof of what his mother looked like when she got to America, how emaciated she was, looking like a walking skeleton. He had proof of the physical scars that his father still bore because of the treatment that he received when he was a prisoner in the concentration camps. This is America, y'all. This is who we are. And if by chance that Biden pulls through, I don't know. I was so focused on the presidential race that I didn't pay attention to the Senate and did we lose? I saw that leader that they sprayed on their headstones, and who defaces goes to a cemetery, walks through a person's final resting place and defaces it. Now y'all see why that even though I'm 55, I still remember the lessons my mother taught me about being a good person. Because when I run across stuff like that, the echoes of what you was raised on between good, right and wrong, they come back in your head. You'll say to yourself, I remember when my mother was telling us, don't do this, or when my parents taught us that. Who raised these motherfuckers? You know? I think that white people, like I said, y'all, they are 65% of the electorate. We are only 12%. And that's what I wanted to end with. Black people, y'all did y'all job. Y'all registered to vote. You actually went out and vote. I told y'all I was driving by the early voting station here. I live in Columbus, Ohio. It was Sunday, this past Sunday. And y'all, it was like 35 degrees. And that night, I drive a little Jetta, y'all. I got a little Jetta. Y'all know how little Jettas are. The wind was blowing so hard that my little Jetta was like, you know how you can feel the wind pushing up against your car? The reason why I brought that up is, think about it. It was 35 degrees, windy as fuck. That line at the early voting place is it's in a strip mall. It ran the length of the strip mall, on through the parking lot, out the parking lot, and down the fucking street. When I drove by, you're like, it was like 5:30 in the evening. And since the time went back, it was dusk dark. Those people were standing out there in the cold, in the wind. It was misty, like kind of, it wasn't pouring raining, but that misty rain because of the hurricanes. They're cold, they're wet. They stood out there. I went around the block and then went into the parking lot because I wanted to see, even though they had police everywhere directing traffic, I wanted to see the face of the people that were actually standing there. And it was Black people. It was, we don't like cold, but they were out there. 5:30 on a Sunday afternoon, voting in the rain and the cold. When I left, when I was the fifth person in line when I was voting, there weren't a lot of people behind me. But by the time I told y'all, I was in the booth a while, making sure I was casting my stuff right. By the time I got out of line and I walked out of that school, the line was out the school, out the, onto the sidewalk. And y'all, when I tell you, it was sisters in the line with their hair tied up, babies on their hips. It was 6:45 in the morning. There were guys in the line that looked like, the only word I could think of is thugs. They were up. They were up voting. So it's not that we didn't vote. We did our job. You got celebrities who told y'all they've never voted before. Black celebrities. Snoop. It was a couple other. He said he never voted. But something about this man told even Snoop it's time to get up and go vote. So we did our part. We can't do no more. We only 12% of the electorate. But you know what white people were saying online today? Check this shit out, y'all. They were saying stuff like, well, I guess Black people like being beat by the police and, shot out in the street because they didn't get up and show out. I'm sitting there like, we did our 12%. It's you suburban housewives and you college educated whites and blue collar whites. Y'all didn't do y'all's. You did exactly what you felt. And this is who we are. This is who we always have been, and I believe who we will always be. I don't think nothing's ever going to change in America. And the reason why is because of what it was built on, you know? What it was built on. Yeah, Lito, I was sitting there reading like, what? So now it's all our fault that this bitch might get back in. It's now our fault. That's exactly what they were saying. And it wasn't one or two posts. The person's post that I saw that said that, they had 631 likes. 631. That it's our fault. When they are almost 70% of the voting people here in America. So what I told my family members after we all decided to get off this morning is, when you go out today, y'all, and you cross paths with a white person, look at them. Look at them. And y'all, let me just say this before I say this. I don't want to appear that I don't deal with white people. Let me just tell you why I'm saying that. My kids, they have best friends who are white. There's a young white boy that my son met when he was 16. My son is 33. They are friends to this day. This boy has broken bread in my house. I have cooked for him. His parents have done the same thing for my son. When he went off to the military, he's an only child. His parents took what they could, the love that they couldn't put on their son because he was away in the military, and they showered my son with it. They were white. They even bought my son a car. They saw that my son was, having problems getting back and forth to work because the city that we live in, the bus system is not the greatest. And especially where we live at, buses really don't connect right, in the area that we live in, because we live like on the outskirts of the city. So they put their money together and they bought him a little car. They didn't pay a lot for it. I think it was under $1,000, but they bought him a car. Constantly was bringing food over to his house, taking him grocery shopping. So the point I'm trying to make is, I have friends that are white. I sound like a white person when they talk about us. I have friends that are white that, I've been friends with quite a number of years. And I have tried to hold them at arm's length, but they are determined to be Rachel's friend. I don't know why. They are determined. So I have to reach back to what my mother taught me. And she said, treat people as they treat you. So because these white people that are trying to be my friend, and have tried to be my friend for years, and through, showing me that they actually care about me, I am friends with them because they treat me with respect. And up until now, I haven't run into anything because I wasn't trying to be their friends. I would have recognized if they was on some bullshit. Up until the point where they show me who they are, I will be their friend. So what I'm saying I'm not trying to paint a blanket dislike of white people, because I will be a hypocrite, because I have friends that are white and my kids definitely do. Because they grew up in a racially mixed neighborhood, their reality is not mine. Because I grew up in an all Black neighborhood and I had to come to acceptance of these white people want to be my friend and they going out of their way. When my ex died, I got a knock on the door and some of my white coworkers showed up with food. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, they literally came to my house. So y'all, and the point I'm trying to make, y'all get what I'm saying. But we got to be careful. So when you go out in the world today and you cross some of these white people, look at them. Because basically they said what they felt when they was in that booth yesterday. They agree with Trump. They agree with babies being taken from their parents. They agree with all that. All the shit he been doing. They agree that the virus is over. Y'all better not believe that shit. I've been on lockdown pretty much since March, y'all. I go out to handle my business and I get my short black ass back in this house because I don't want no parts of this virus. I told y'all I work in healthcare. I'm just going to tell y'all this. About a month ago, I told y'all I work for Aetna. I've worked for Blue Cross. I've worked for Medicaid, Medicare. I'm leaving Aetna and I'm going to another health insurance company. The reason why I'm bringing this up is part of my job is reviewing medical records, looking at claims, what these doctors and hospitals are billing. COVID is real. Those numbers are real. Doctors are not getting paid more to treat COVID patients. Let me tell you why I know that's true. Because COVID is new, these doctors don't even know how to bill it because the patient cannot come into the office. Some of these people don't have computers. So doctors are doing their visit over the phone. Okay. So the doctor will meet with the patient, write the prescription, do whatever, send them whatever. Then they will call us and say, I just had a visit. It was over the phone. The patient has COVID. They can't come in. It's not a televisit where they're doing it on screen. How do I bill that? Do I just need to eat the charge because I actually didn't hands on the patient? We're trying to figure out how to pay these doctors because they did provide medical care. They did write a prescription. They did refer them to a specialist. They did this, but because they can't see them in person, they don't know how to bill. Do you know how many doctors that I've had that called in confused and they will say stuff like, okay, well, the actual COVID treatment, I won't bill for that, but can I bill for, you know, this part? Can I bill for my office did this? I'll just eat the rest of the charge, but can I just be paid for my time? Can he be paid for his time? And we're sitting here getting with CMS, which is the Centers, I forget what the letters are, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. We're getting with them saying, okay, tell us how to tell these doctors how to bill because they're taking a loss. Let me tell you what the job is that I'm doing, that I'm going to. I am going to be the return to work coordinator for a school system. Do you know why they need this person? Because a lot of their employees and their students, this is a college, a university, they have COVID and they need to be able to transition back, after they survived it, come back to work and come back to school. And my job is to help them get back. Because I have that background, after working for all those health insurance companies, I speak doctor language. Now, not I don't mean the medical part, y'all, because y'all know I ain't got no degree in medicine or anything, but I understand how doctors bill. I understand, how insurance companies work. I talk to, I've spoken to doctors and nurses and hospitals all day long. So they created this position because they need someone to clear these people to go back to work. It's not contact tracing. It's literally, I'm going to be working for Kaiser Permanente. And I don't know if I should be saying all this online, but I'm just showing y'all where we are. And my job is to be that empathetic person because you got to think, those people that got COVID got it through no fault of their own. Like, it's not like they had sex or something and got it because they weren't, practicing safe sex. It's because it's out here airborne in the atmosphere. And a lot of them are surviving, but they need to get back to work and get back to school. But they can't put other people at danger when they're trying to come back. So luckily, it's a work from home job because y'all know I ain't about to be exposed to that shit. But my job is to help them, get the okay to go back to work. Anything that I can do to help not speed up the process, but confirm that the health department has released them, their doctor has released them, they've quarantined for this amount of days if they've been exposed. That is the job that I'm going to be doing. The reason why I took Aetna, that I left Aetna, is because I felt like I just wanted to help in some way. And the job that I was doing, when you're talking to doctors and hospitals, they pretty much, you really don't need to help them. It's just mostly like you're guiding them how to build their claims, or if they don't get paid, helping them get paid. But you're not really hands on with people. And during what we going through now, I wanted to be hands on with people because I feel like I have all this experience and it's being wasted. It's because you coming to people at a when they are surviving COVID, it's a stigma on them and they're vulnerable. And they don't want people to know that they had it because they know that, there's rumors that it could come back. So you got to handle them gently and be empathetic. And I guess, when I interview with these people, they sense something in me, because the company that I'm going to be working for, they're not even in the state that I'm in. You know, they just chose me of the people. I don't, just put it this way, y'all, I don't know. I really don't know why they chose me. But I guess it's that background because I want to help. And I understand that this COVID shit might be going on for a while, y'all. And people need to know, because if any of y'all are my age, y'all know that stigma that surrounded people during AIDS and herpes. People was so scared of it that they would like cut off their family members. Well, what's happening is people feel the same way about COVID because they are telling us that the shit can come back. That you could test negative for a couple months and then go back, a few months later and you had it and you test for that shit again. So those poor people, they gotta be scared, I don't know, y'all. We just, right now, don't y'all see like we are messed up under this man? We are messed up. I don't know. I'm gonna check one last time before I get off to see where Biden is now. I don't even almost want to check. It's still at 224 and 213. You see how close that shit is, y'all? That just tells you that all this shit they've been talking these last few months. They even got this group here on YouTube called RVAT. It's Republican Voters Against Trump. And they did all these videos about why they couldn't vote for Trump this time, that they didn't vote for Trump. And y'all, let me tell y'all, I'm not ashamed of it. I sat for hours just watching their stories and all of that and believing that they were going to turn away from Trump and that they were going to, vote for Biden so we can get back to some sense of normalcy. I'm wondering now, did they just film those videos? You know how, because they wanted to be seen, but when they actually got in, they still voted for him. Because if y'all go watch, it's called Republican Voters Against Trump. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of videos of these Republicans telling you why they couldn't vote for Trump this time. I don't believe them now, y'all. I believe they were lying. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe some of them, kept their word and didn't vote for the Republicans. And also, y'all, did y'all see that turtle, the Grim Reaper, what's his name? Is it McConnell? That he got back in? And what was the other one? Lindsey Graham that was running up against the black guy, Jamie, somebody, I can't think of his last name. He got back in. Basically, y'all, they showing us They showing us. So I don't know why we seeming we're feeling surprised today, depressed. I guess we made the mistake of trying to be optimistic. We thought surely after the last 4 years that they would wake up, but I couldn't. When I rolled over this morning, I said, Rachelle, go brush your teeth, wash your face, get a shower, get some coffee. Don't look at nothing till you get yourself sitting down, peace, at peace, and then start to look at what occurred over the night. I literally went downstairs after I took my shower and all that. I said, I'm gonna make me some coffee. Then after I drank the coffee, I said, let me eat some cereal. Then, I kept putting it off, y'all, because something was telling me this shit ain't work out. Then finally, you know how you like, okay, it's nothing more to do, because basically, because I don't start the job to next week, I took the rest of the week off, to chill for a little bit. So when I transition to this new job, my mind could be clear, and I could get those poor people with COVID, everything that I got. So I'm taking the rest of the week off, but I had to kind of hold off on like looking at where we were. Then when I looked at it, I said, ain't this some shit? So Trump is like what, within 10, yeah, pretty much 11 points of Biden right now. This who we are, y'all. Somebody said you would think with the deaths and job losses, people would come to their senses. Nope, this who we are. Somebody said 5G might be the cause. Do any of y'all want to talk? Do y'all want to? Because sometimes it's hard to talk to yourself. Like it's like I'm sitting here just staring at the screen and I'm rattling on, but I know where my thoughts are. I know what I feel about this country. I can't even say I'm disappointed or surprised, y'all. I just made the mistake of being optimistic. And, it's not over. They said that there are still counting votes, and Biden very well may win. But what we realize is that it was a hard fight, good versus evil. And that's what it boils down to. Somebody said earlier in the comments, what did they say? Righteousness. This is truly, y'all, good versus evil, because somebody that behaves like Trump, they're not a good person, you know? And who wants to be led by somebody like that, you know? Who wants to follow and hold him up as something to your kids? I am so glad that I am not raising my kids now. Not only because they can't go to school, but because of all the shit that's going on in the country. Because I am a parent that I like to know what my kids are thinking when they were growing up, because if you just let them talk, you can kind of see what kind of person they are. So when they were growing up in 15 and 16, even though some of the ideas that my son had, I wanted to get him some mental treatment before he became a man, because he had far out ideas, but I let him talk. Like I would ask his opinion on, so what do you think of this? And then sit back and let him talk. And then that way I could kind of tweak, what I felt he was a little twisted on. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't let him talk. So when I look at now, I wonder what parents are saying to their kids. What was the conversation that you had with them when you explained why they couldn't go to school and why we had to wear a mask and why we can't go anywhere? Like, hey, whoever that is, and Miss Harmony and Barker Lander, hey to all of y'all. I just like wondered as a parent, like, what did you tell them? And then another thing that I know that I wouldn't have been able to do, teach my kids. First of all, when my daughter was in the seventh grade, child, this is a child that got straight A's from jump. Hell, I believe she is school wise, her math alone. I was in college and my daughter was helping me with college math, and she was in the seventh grade. She was a math tutor, and that's why she ended up going to school to be a teacher. So that just show you, like, I ain't beyond. The little girl seemed to know what she was doing, so I just brought my college algebra to her. I said, explain it to me in a way that mom will understand, because I'm not getting what the professor is trying to tell me. And my daughter, y'all, that scientific calculator, I couldn't even figure out how to turn the bitch on. I'm not ashamed to say it. My daughter sat down patiently and took me through every step of the calculator and how to use the calculator to do the work. I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. But this little girl was what, 12, 13? And pretty much she was my tutor. And I was in college and she was in the seventh grade. Pretty much. So I know that I would not have been able to teach my kids. Or, you know how, like, you're helping your child with the homework, and I'm pretty sure that other parents have gone through this, and you read over it first and you're standing there like, what the fuck is this teacher talking about? So basically you tell your child, I'm just as clueless as you are, but what I will do for you, baby, is I'm going to read these directions real slow, and maybe when I read them slow, you'll something up pop in your brain and you'll remember what that teacher told you, because I have no clue. You know, I literally found my daughter and my kids tutors. I did not try to act like mom knew everything, because I, to this day, I tell them I don't know everything. I learn from them. A lot of stuff I literally, like, I'll be talking to them and I'll be like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm glad he knows that. Because one thing about being mature, you're not too mature or old where you can't learn or you can't give a young person they do, because they know more. I would just put it this way, y'all. I would have been trying to teach my kids. I think I would have, since they were home, I would have figured out a way to get them some type of tutor, you know, where to help them. I would have had to bite the bullet and pay, because fucking with me, they would not have graduated, you know? I don't know, y'all. I'm gonna log off this live. I'm gonna try to do some stuff to get away from this election stuff. And, maybe around 3 or 4 this afternoon, look back at it again. But it's almost like the writing is on the wall. And I don't want to jinx Biden, because I know that man has done everything. And I want to bring up something about him. Yesterday morning, he went to the cemetery and he visited his dead son, his deceased wife, and his deceased daughter. Do you know that Trump people, now when he was there, cameras follow him everywhere, that those Trump people were saying that he was just doing that for a photo op? I was sitting there like, what is wrong with these people? This is how I looked at what he was doing. You know that once, when his wife and his daughter were killed, that Joe Biden was a single parent before he met Jill for a while. So him and his sons bonded. He became both mother and father to them. They tell the story about how he would take the train into Washington, but he would leave at the end of the day so he could get back to his sons and help with homework, cook dinner, blah, blah, blah. They bonded. So yesterday, when he was facing the most important day of his life, he went to the cemetery to be amongst the people that he loved, that he wanted them to share in that day with him. Even though they're dead, he stopped and he talked to his deceased son. Then he made his way to his deceased wife's grave, stood there, talked to her, and then he went to his dead daughter. and he talked to her. To me, that's a man that he has humanity in him, that he has an undying love for his kids and even still for the wife. He didn't break up with her. She was killed. Her daughter, his daughter and her were killed. He didn't stop loving her. She was taken from him. So when I saw those Trump people like blasting him, saying that it was all for a photo op, they say that this man visits those graves regularly, that this is a part of who he is. I don't know how many times I've seen him in the last few months where they show him leaving the grave, those graves. He talks to them. Yo, I got a nephew that died last year, about a year and a half ago, 27 years old. When he was little, he is older than my daughter. My daughter was around a whole bunch of boy cousins. She really doesn't have female cousins that lived in the same city. So her boy cousins kind of took her under their wing. And this one nephew specifically, he taught her how to ride her bike. He protected her. Her and him got lost in a blizzard one time. He was taking her to the Y, and he got turned around because it was just that much snow. He went to a phone. He was a teenager, and he called my mother. I was at work, and he said, "I'm lost. I have Amber, my daughter's name is Amber, with me, and we're lost. I don't know which way to go." So my mother called me at work in a rage. "You let that boy take that girl out knowing that it was a blizzard? What the hell is on your mind?" You know what I told her? I let her finish fussing at me, and I said this. I said, "I am not even worried because I know Chris would die before he would let something happen to my daughter." I said, "Wherever they are right now, even though it's a blizzard, he's probably taking off his coat and giving it to her. That's how much he loves her." I said, "Tell him just to get to a street sign. Tell me the name of the street, and I'm going to leave work now, and I'm going to find them." And sure enough, when I got there, he was probably about 18, and I think my daughter may have been 10 or 11. He had picked her up, opened up his coat. She wrapped her legs around him, and he zipped her up in his coat. And they were just standing there. His hood literally was over her head. And he was just standing there waiting on me. When he got in the car, he went to apologize. And he said, "Auntie, I'm so sorry. I don't," because they had just moved to this city. He said, "I got kind of turned." I said, "You don't even have to explain. You don't even have to explain." The reason why I bring him up is because he loved me so much as his auntie and he loved my daughter. I talked to him all the time. All the time. If I have a picture of him in my office, I'm sitting here looking at it now. Sometimes I'll be setting down my cup and I'll knock the picture over. And I'll be like, "Chris, I'm so sorry. Auntie is a little clumsy." So that's what Biden is doing. He's talking to, like we do, y'all, if y'all have a loved one that died, you still talk to them because it helps you feel connected to them. And that's all he was doing. He wanted to be close to them on that day. Fucking crazy ass Republicans. Well, not even Republicans, Trumpsters. Y'all, so I'm not going to hold y'all. I cannot believe that 21 of y'all are here today. All I can say is, we just got to pray. That's it. And if it doesn't work out, just know this. As Black people, we'll get through this. We get through everything. We get, y'all, we're strong. We're strong. We will get through this. We're going to have to swallow, his win if he wins. I just said today, I'm not going to let that aberration in the White House dictate my life, because we live down here in the real world, and I'm going to still get up every day and be happy. Good morning, Janice. I'm gonna still get up and I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna still get up, and that goodness that my mother put in me, I'm gonna spread it. I'm gonna still get up with love of my fellow human being. And you know why I'm doing that, y'all? Because on Judgment Day, I'm gonna be standing by myself. Like when God said, "Run the reel of my life," Trump not gonna be there. As much as I can't, y'all, I want to say I hate him, but my mother taught me last night. She was like, I didn't teach you to hate, but I'm grown now, and I'm going to say it. Much as I hate him, I'm going, I can't even say I'm going to pray for him, y'all, because I'll be lying. I'll be lying. But I'm going to try to keep optimism, and even if he get in, just do right in my life. Because that's all I can do, y'all. That's all we can really do. So, K Shell said, I say, hey, I don't care. That's what I told my mother last night. I said, but I told her, I said, you can't keep telling me how to feel. I'm 55. I got gray hair. I'm trying to be respectful, but I hate him, Mom. I hate him. And she just laughed. And I told her, I said, from going forward, please don't tell me, I'm trying to be respectful and I don't want to get smart with you, but please don't tell me how to feel. Maybe you can't say hate, but I can. See, she grew up in the 60s and they came from, all that hate and, like people being strung up. So my mother and father, they don't like that word because to them it holds a different meaning than what it means to us. And I get that. But I didn't grow up in the 60s, I'm 55. I grew up after the 60s and all the fighting there they did, and we reaped the benefits of those fights. So we don't have the same reality they do. And she was like, well, I'm gonna get off. And y'all, I even tried to drink some wine last night. I poured it, and the sip that I had, it was good. But you know how your stomach doing somersaults? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pour this down the drain because I can't even get into this tonight because I was so disgusted. So I'm just gonna say this, and then I really am gonna get out of here. Y'all see the title of my video? Yes, this is exactly who we are. The Indians' blood is in this soil. Our blood is in this soil. And this country was built on it, y'all. This is who the fuck we are. And I'm going to say it again. It's not we, it's them, because they lied. This is who America is. Because again, they are 65% of the voting population, and we are 12%. So who is handing this win, if it is a win, to Trump? It's them. This is not on us. And when you're thinking about this today and you know that you voted, you did your job. And that's why you should hold your head up, because your heart told you, I got to vote what's right, not necessarily what's good for me, because that's why I blocked that person who was talking shit and I called her a bitch. She said under Trump that her and her family have done wonderful. That's all fine and good. But it's more than just you out in the world, Um, somebody said these mongrels, I'm going to start. They said stronger numbers. We have to pray, especially that Trump supporters do think bring out more can. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, even with that, they're going to walk up on the wrong black person. And what I've been saying is this, y'all, I ain't even nothing but barely 5 feet tall. But I'm going to say this. I'm not about to be nobody's N-word. I'm not about to be intimidated. And There's something that I used to jokingly say when I would get into these encounters with white people. And I'm one of those type of people that I'm going to speak my mind regardless of how they feel. Because when I have had these encounters, let me tell y'all what happens. And y'all probably think this is funny, and I'm not joking. So when y'all hear this, picture what is happening in my head. As they start to talk shit to me, I hear these distant drums from Africa in my head, y'all. Boom, 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 boom. It starts beating and it starts to grow inside me. Then something in me, I don't know if it's the African in me, raises up. The ancestors be dancing on my shoulders, and I know how to go off in a nice way where we don't come away being that quote unquote angry, stereotypical black woman, but I get the motherfuckers told. And it's and as soon as I do, those distant drums, and y'all, I am not playing. I don't know if that's the blood in my veins beat, cursing, and it's my heart racing up, and I'm mistaking it for drums. But I swear to God, y'all, I hear distant drums from Africa. I take a deep breath, and the ancestors put the words in my mouth because I get them told. They do not fuck with me because I'm not one of those black people that's gonna stand back and you say some silly shit or slick shit and think that I didn't catch it. I might take a moment to form the words that I'm about to use to tell your ass off, but they're coming. And them drums that I hear from Africa, I believe those are the ancestors saying, "Get ready, sis. We standing here." You get them told. I don't do that. I'm not about to. So all this stuff that they're doing, they're accosting black people and coming up calling us niggas and throwing stuff at us. I'm not one for that. I will go to jail. A lot of us also too have been buying weapons. Okay. If they have the right to stand their ground, do we not have the right to stand ours? Let one of them walk up to me and I feel threatened. I'm not even 5 feet tall. Y'all, I'm about the size of your average fourth grader. My my squeeze say I'm fun size, whatever. But can I not feel threatened and fear for my fucking life? Walk up on me. I'm going to blow you away. I'm going to blow you away. And then I'm going to stand there and say, look at me and look at him laying down there. Look at me and look at him. Look at me and look at Karen. Karen is damn near 6 feet. Rachel ain't even 5. I felt threatened, so I blew that bitch away. I'm probably going to go to jail because we don't supposed to, as black women, they don't think that we're women anyway. And even though it could be a male Karen 6'4", if I blow him away, they're going to say, well, you didn't feel threatened. Ain't that a bitch? I'm going to blow them away. I'm not, how they shoot us first and ask questions later. If they approach me, now just say they're walking away, I wouldn't do it then. But just say they continue to approach me in a threatening manner, I'm not going to give them a chance to hurt me. I'm not doing that. Because we know that for some of those groups, killing one of us is a rite of passage. Killing one of us is a rite of passage. It's a notch on their belt. And it's we have been victim to a lot of stuff that they have done, but we're not victims anymore. Like I said, we are not our parents, and we're not taking that bullshit. We're not. I'm not about to let somebody take away what I'm so proud of. I don't have a problem being black, y'all. Matter of fact, something my grandfather always taught us about black women. My grandfather used to say black women are some of the most beautiful women in the world. And he said the reason why is because we come in every flavor of the world. He was like from the lightest vanilla to the deepest chocolate. Whatever flavor you want is represented in our race. Thank you, white people, for fucking our ancestors. But we come in every flavor. We come in every flavor. Whatever you want. If you like caramel, we got caramel complected women. We got, chocolate and just everything in between. So my grandfather truly believed that we were the beauties of the world. And if you ever date some Africans, they make you feel beautiful too. But with that, y'all, I can't keep y'all this long. We'll be back later on this evening after we see, they're counting, what is it, Pennsylvania, Michigan. I can't think of what else, some other big uh, states that they would get a lot of electoral votes from. Only thing we can do now, y'all, is just pray. Like I said, somebody said I look good, girl. Your body knows. And then I just told my mother that the women in my family, I got some aunts that are in their early to mid 60s. And I guess I take them for granted. I just see them as aunt. But one day one of my aunts had posted a picture of herself. If she does not look younger than me, and I think she is like 8 years older than me, so she's like 63. And I'm not saying this like just because she's my aunt. If I can find that picture of her, I'm going to post it on my community wall. And keep in mind, my aunt is 63, be 64 in March. She doesn't look it. I think that we're short little women, but when I look at my aunts, they are aging like fine wine. And I only hope to look as decent, y'all. We're not talking about whether you're pretty or ugly. We're talking about wrinkles and gray hair and sagging necks. You know, the stuff that you start to get as you get older. They don't have it. Sometimes when I'm around them and we all standing in the mirror, you know how you go in and you check your makeup and you stuff, and I look at their reflection, I stop and say, oh God, please, let me look like Aunt Nita when I get her age. Let me look like Aunt Helen when I get her age. They look good. They look good. Literally, they're my aunts. And when we have stepped out, the same guys that be shooting at me be shooting at them. Yeah, they can't tell that they're like almost 10 years older than me. And I think it comes from my grandma, because my grandmother was 94 when she died, and she actually looked like she was in her 70s. Other than arthritis and stuff, her face though didn't have all that, the droopy skin. So we must be getting this from our grandmother. Like I said, we just average women, but that crow's feet and the lines around your mouth. And I'm so glad that whatever my grandmother has given us is, and I also have an oily face. So I think that has helped me over the years with all that wrinkling and stuff. But y'all, we on something else now. But y'all take care. Thank you for stopping in. And trust me, I will be back, because even though I say I'm not going to let this worry me, y'all know it's worrying me. You know it is, because I can sense the worry in you. I can sense the worry in people on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. You can sense it. People are scared, y'all. And it's sad that they scared of what this one man could potentially do in the next 4 years if he wins. This is where we are. Y'all have a good one. See y'all back. Stay safe today, because those Trump people are celebrating prematurely, because y'all know he declared victory last night. Watch your back when you go out there. Pay attention to who around you and shit, because I don't trust them. And with that, see y'all later on. Bye-bye.